All right. Thank you, everybody, for joining this talk on scaling XR applications with CloudXR, edge computing, and 5G, use cases in entertainment, manufacturing, and more. My name is Krasny Nikolov. I'm CEO and co-founder of CorkXR. Before we begin, I'd love to remind everybody that I'm available for chat during this talk. So if you have any questions, please use the Q&A button in your browser and ask away. All right. A bit of introduction about CorkXR. Our company is founded in 2016, and we've been working on cloud streaming applications for augmented and virtual reality. We created the first Unity SDK for VR, which lets you stream cloud content into your mobile VR headset. We also created a wireless reference design that can turn a PC wired headset into a wireless headset. And some of our investors include prominent AR/VR investors like HTC Vive X and Boost VC. Myself, again, my name is Krasny Nikolov. I'm CEO and co-founder of CorkXR. I've been working in the XR field since 2014. I actually started with a Google Glass project, and later I created an app called Into Game, which lets you stream PC games into a mobile VR device. So, why NVIDIA CloudXR is the topic of this talk. On the slide, you can see a typical VR setup, high-end VR setup before and after CloudXR. So before, we had to deal with workstation computers, which are typically wired, and you have a monitor and a dedicated case. And now a lot of industries are using VR on a daily basis. We're gonna get into some of the use cases with industrial training, arcades and whatnot. And you can imagine from an IT perspective how hard that solution on the left-hand side would scale compared to the solution on the right-hand side, where if you need 100 or 1,000 new users, you just spin out like 1,000 new servers from an NVIDIA data center, and you're immediately good to go. So this is the goal for us as an industry, to move to a setup where everything is very easy and scalable too. So there are other issues as well in the current XR industry, and let me try to do like a formal problem statement here. Normally, when you create an XR device, you need to choose in between the image quality, have like a very high resolution, very high fidelity image, the form factor of the headset, make it slim, ideally as slim as my glasses right now, and also make it affordable. And normally what happens is you need to sacrifice some of those qualities. For example, you can make a very high-end headset with very high resolution, but it's not as affordable. And we definitely see CorkXR and NVIDIA CloudXR as a platform that can solve that issue through streaming. Essentially, we are utilizing the immense power of cloud computing or edge computing that we're going to talk about later, 5G, and thus we give immersive XR devices superpowers. We get lightweight mobile devices with a slim form factor that have very high fidelity content on them. The advantages of this approach, we already named a few. First and foremost, it's a very scalable solution. You can spin out as many servers as you want, as many servers as you need. It's a lower upfront cost because you anything in the cloud, you pay for what you use. If you don't use it, you turn it off. And you don't have to make the upfront investment of buying the hardware. You just need a mobile VR or AR headset. There's no PC setup required. You can have a mobile device which can run PC quality content on it. And thus we get the highest possible visual fidelity on mobile devices. In the title of the talk, there we mentioned edge computing and 5G. Right now, we have some use cases of XR in arcades at home or in the enterprise. And with 5G, we believe a lot more people will have great connectivity in the future, which will enable streaming use cases like CorkXR and NVIDIA CloudXR to reach a mass market and accelerate the growth of the whole XR industry. And the edge computing component means that it doesn't matter where you're located. Edge computing will make latency times and ping times very low, and you don't have to live near a data center hub of AWS or Microsoft in order to have a great streaming experience. So edge computing will play a very important role as well. And we definitely see that a lot of the meaningful use cases for AR and VR right now are in the enterprise. So we definitely see the enterprise as a driving force for XR adoption in the future. So let's get into some use cases right now. I'm gonna play the video and explain what use case this is. This is called robotic teleoperation, and it is with a partner of CorkXR called Extend Robotics. So they have created an application which lets you remotely operate a robotic arm. What you see in the bottom left corner is a view of a volumetric camera, which is capturing the robotic arm. And in VR, I see that view, and I also see the digital twin of the robot. And it's very easy to operate with a VR controller. So before NVIDIA CloudXR, Extend Robotics had to ship their customers a laptop, wired headset, and software which they need to configure in order to run the application. Right now, this setup is simplified that we can only ship people a mobile headset like the Oculus Quest 2 or the Bifocus 3. The headset connects to a CorkXR server running NVIDIA CloudXR, and we stream the content on the fly. We don't need a laptop and additional setup at the customer. Another point is, this is another demo from Extend Robotics. And here you can see a view from inside the headset. And this is a view of the volumetric camera. Volumetric cameras produce tons of data, roughly 100 mbits per second per camera. And you can imagine how hard it would be to stream all that data to a mobile headset. So instead, we utilize the cloud here. It's a great use case where we can send all that data to a server, and then the result that you're seeing here in the, sorry, let me play the video again. The result that you see here in the video is a lot smaller. It's like 30 mbits per second. And in the future, Extend Robotics want to add more cameras to make this view even more high fidelity. So we're talking about gigabytes of data that are being streamed to the server, but to the headset itself, it remains the single stream. So here we are basically making the content available to more mobile devices. Another use case and that is a huge use case for VR in general, in AR, it's in industrial training. And that is a great use case of the CloudXR platform, which enables all kinds of XR devices to be sending and receiving data from a cloud server. Here we are seeing the Sense Glove haptic glove, which thanks to CloudXR sends the data, haptic and tracking data to the server. And in this video, I can basically operate machinery, and thanks to the haptic glove, I can feel the objects that I'm touching. And thanks to NVIDIA CloudXR, we can have high fidelity content which is being rendered in the cloud on NVIDIA GPUs, and it's being streamed to a mobile headset. In this case, we have the Vive Focus Plus. To give you some perspective on the amounts of data which we are streaming, the amounts of data which is being rendered in the cloud, an NVIDIA GPU can have like 40 gigabytes of VRAM, and compared to the mobile chip that we have on the Vive Focus Plus headset, it's over 10 times more teraflops in terms of performance and rendering capabilities. So we can have 10 times a higher fidelity content in the cloud than we would have on the mobile headset. This is very important for industrial applications that are that want to achieve the highest possible realistic high quality picture, and that enables a much better training experience in the end. Another example that we have is in arcades, and here the benefits are twofold. First of all, we can have access to a high quality library of PC content in the arcades, and we also have the scalability benefit. If you want to set up a new arcade location right now, you have to set up 5 to 10, normally 5 to 10 PCs and the respective headsets, and you need to maintain them on the location where you need to maintain the content. You make sure every headset is connected to a PC, etc. With CloudXR and NVIDIA CloudXR, we have a solution where you just ship the new headsets like the Vive Focus 3 or the Quest 2. You ship them to the new arcade location that you want to open, and each headset automatically connects to a cloud server, and the content is being streamed on the fly. Then as a developer, when you want to roll out new updates to your content, you simply upload new version to the cloud server CDN, and it is a centralized point where you maintain all your updates. You don't have to install the update on each and every computer in each arcade location. And in terms of logistics, this makes the whole arcade setup so more scalable and so more easier to maintain. I also wanted to include an AR use case because we mostly focused on VR so far. One great example for AR is live performances. And here we see another CloudXR platform, another CloudXR partner called Condensed Reality that does volumetric video capture for live performances. You can see the performer here who is being captured in a studio with multiple DSLR cameras. And a typical DSLR camera has 25 megapixels of resolution, and we normally have tens of cameras in order to create this high fidelity image of the performer. So again, we're talking about gigabits of data, which is being streamed to the server. This would be impossible to achieve if we had to stream that data directly to the mobile device. This is not something that a mobile device can currently handle, but with the power of the cloud, we can have gigabits of data being streamed to a centralized server. And then again, using NVIDIA CloudXR from the server, we just stream like a regular video feed that is being displayed on this AR device here. So we are utilizing cloud computing in NVIDIA CloudXR to create a very mobile-friendly application, very scalable. We can easily add new cameras. It doesn't affect the mobile device itself or the software on the mobile device. And very high fidelity content which becomes available on mobile. One use case that CloudXR is now working on is in remote work and productivity. Since 2020, there's been a very popular use case of VR, basically having meetings in a virtual environment. And we released an SDK for Unity, which is available on GitHub on the URL that you see on the bottom of the screen. And it basically enables you to integrate teleconferencing into any VR application. You have the ability to share multiple screens and to host a meeting in VR quite easily. And this is something that we also want to integrate with NVIDIA CloudXR. And basically, when you're having streamed content from the cloud with CloudXR, you can add other people into the same environment. As we know, the best use cases of AR and VR are social when it's a shared experience. So we want to make that very easy to develop. And here I'm going to play a small trailer that we have for this. This is actually an application called Control Room, which you can download on App Lab today. By the time this talk airs, we'll probably have an even newer updated version of Control Room, which includes the multiple monitors. Right now on NVIDIA GPUs, we support up to 4 monitors, so you can really have like a multitasking setup where you are running your, for example, if you're a designer, you run your 3D software on some monitor, then you run a browser on another one, and you can host an interactive meeting. You can have the people break out into different sessions and discuss different topics using the multi-monitor setup. So it's very good for multitasking and productivity. So I won't play the whole video here. You can check it out on Oculus App Lab. Instead, I want to tell you a little bit more about the CloudXR technology. So what we do is we create SDK and APIs for Unity and native mobile headsets. For example, our content and client APIs, they're fully integrated with NVIDIA CloudXR. If you want to have content streamed directly from the cloud, that is available today. If you're working on new, exciting XR hardware, and that would benefit from cloud streaming, you can use our client API, and that will also incorporate the NVIDIA CloudXR streaming into your hardware. If you're working on new types of codecs, if you're a university student or a researcher, you can utilize our codec and streaming APIs. And in general, we believe there's tons of innovation yet to be had in the XR space, so we really want to foster that innovation through CloudXR. Some of our features are, I mentioned the Unity SDK for remote work, desktop streaming of multiple monitors, VR and AR streaming enabled by NVIDIA CloudXR, and we also support traditional cloud gaming and streaming of 180 360-degree videos. So a little bit of what we've achieved so far. We've successfully completed 5G customer trials in Germany. We've been field tested in 5G labs across the world at Deutsche Telekom, Orange Silicon Valley, MTS in Russia. Now we're working with Telenet and VodafoneZiggo in Belgium and the Netherlands. So we have tons of experience in the 5G space. CloudXR is available today on different edge computing and cloud platforms like Mobile Edge, Amazon Web Services, and Microsoft Azure. So you can get CloudXR server right away and start streaming. And we already covered some of the use cases like industrial training, remote work, robotic teleoperations, and arcades. There are many more use cases that I'm happy to discuss in the Q&A section. So what's next for CloudXR and CloudXR? So we want to, in all of our use cases, we want to improve the fidelity. For robotic teleoperations, we want to add more volumetric cameras to create a higher fidelity image. For arcades, we want to have streaming to higher number of users at the same location. And we're always working on updates to our SDK, and we're planning to also release an SDK for Unreal Engine. So check out our website for any updates. And with that, I'd love to open the Q&A for any final questions and comments. I'll be available in the chat until the end of the stream, and thank you very much for the attention.